Have you ever wondered if something as simple as regular exercise could actually help your body fight cancer, not just prevent it, but influence what happens at the cellular level? For many years, exercise was viewed mainly as a way to burn calories, lose weight, or improve heart health. But here's what modern science is revealing: your muscles are far more than engines for movement. They're actually powerful endocrine organs that release hundreds of signaling molecules capable of communicating with your immune system, reducing inflammation, improving metabolism, and even creating an environment that is less favorable for cancer growth. What the research shows is that exercise isn't simply about fitness, it's about changing the biology inside your body. Now, it's important to be clear about something from the beginning. Exercise is not a cure for cancer, and it should never replace screening, medical treatment, or the advice of an oncologist. But evidence continues to grow, showing that physical activity can lower the risk of developing several types of cancer, improve treatment tolerance, reduce fatigue, strengthen immune function, and, in some cancers, even reduce the risk of recurrence after treatment. In fact, a landmark international clinical trial published in 2025 showed that a structured exercise program significantly reduced recurrence and improved survival among patients treated for colon cancer. That's an extraordinary finding because it demonstrates that lifestyle isn't just supportive, it can become part of evidence-based cancer care. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Cancer doesn't develop in isolation. It grows within an environment shaped by inflammation, insulin levels, immune surveillance, hormones, body composition, blood flow, and cellular energy metabolism. Exercise influences every one of these systems simultaneously. Instead of targeting just one pathway, it creates a healthier internal environment that makes it more difficult for abnormal cells to thrive. Over the next several minutes, we'll explore exactly how this works. You'll learn why muscle acts like a natural pharmacy, how exercise strengthens your immune defenses, why insulin resistance may play a larger role than many people realize, and what type of exercise appears to provide the greatest benefits according to the latest research. Most importantly, you'll leave with practical strategies you can begin using immediately, whether your goal is prevention, recovery, or simply living a longer, healthier life. And if you're passionate about understanding the science behind better health, consider subscribing. Every day, we break down complex medical research into practical strategies you can actually use in your everyday life. Let's begin with one of the most remarkable discoveries in modern medicine. Your muscles are not just responsible for movement, they're actually one of the body's largest endocrine organs. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Every time your muscles contract during a brisk walk, a bike ride, or a strength training session, they release hundreds of signaling molecules known as myokines. Think of these as tiny biological text messages. Instead of staying inside the muscle, they travel through your bloodstream, delivering instructions to organs throughout your body, including your liver, fat tissue, brain, and immune system. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine your body as a large city. Your muscles are like the city's emergency communication center. When you exercise, that center sends out messages telling every department to work more efficiently. The immune system increases surveillance. The liver improves metabolic control. Fat tissue reduces inflammatory signals. Blood vessels become healthier. Together, these changes create an internal environment that's far less supportive of cancer development. What the research shows is that several myokines, including interleukin 6 released during exercise, irisin, and SPARC, appear to influence immune activity, reduce chronic inflammation, and may even slow the growth of certain cancer cells in laboratory and animal studies. Human studies also show that physically active individuals have a lower risk of developing multiple cancers, including breast, colon, endometrial, and several others. While researchers are still uncovering exactly how each myokine works, the evidence is becoming increasingly clear. Contracting muscles produce powerful health signals that extend far beyond movement itself. One of the biggest misconceptions is that these benefits require intense workouts. They don't. Even a 30 to 45-minute brisk walk can stimulate myokine release. Resistance training, cycling, swimming, rowing, dancing, and even climbing stairs all activate these beneficial pathways. The key is regular muscle contraction, not athletic perfection. If you're just getting started, aim for at least 30 minutes of moderate movement most days of the week. If you already exercise, consider adding 2 or 3 resistance training sessions weekly. Building muscle doesn't simply improve strength. It expands one of your body's most powerful natural defense systems. And here's something worth remembering. Every workout is more than a calorie-burning session. It's a biochemical conversation between your muscles and the rest of your body, a conversation that supports healthier metabolism, stronger immunity, and greater resilience over time. If this explanation is helping you see exercise in a completely new way, consider subscribing. Every day, we explore the science behind nutrition, longevity, and metabolic health, translating complex research into practical steps you can use to build a healthier future. Now let's talk about one of the most important but often overlooked connections between exercise and cancer, metabolic health. When many people hear the word insulin, they immediately think about diabetes, but insulin does much more than regulate blood sugar. It's a powerful growth hormone. Under normal circumstances, that's exactly what you want. Insulin helps nutrients move into cells so your body can repair tissues, build muscle, and produce energy. The problem begins when insulin stays elevated for months or even years because of poor diet, inactivity, excess body fat, or chronic overeating. Here's what's really going on inside your body. When cells become resistant to insulin, your pancreas compensates by producing even more of it. Over time, this creates a state known as hyperinsulinemia. High insulin levels don't just affect glucose, they also increase the activity of another growth-promoting hormone called IGF-1, or insulin-like growth factor 1. Together, these hormones send stronger signals for cells to grow and divide. Healthy cells can regulate these signals, but abnormal or precancerous cells may take advantage of them, increasing their potential to multiply. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine you're trying to control weeds in a garden. Cancer cells are like weeds. Insulin and IGF-1 are like fertilizer. Fertilizer doesn't create weeds, but if weeds are already present, adding more fertilizer can help them grow faster. The goal isn't to eliminate these hormones, they're essential for life, but to keep them within a healthy range. This is where exercise becomes incredibly powerful. During physical activity, your muscles begin pulling glucose directly out of the bloodstream, often without requiring as much insulin. After exercise, your muscle cells become more sensitive to insulin, meaning your body can manage blood sugar using less of the hormone. This improvement can last for up to 24 to 48 hours after a workout, which is one reason regular movement is so important. Large population studies consistently show that people who remain physically active have a lower risk of developing several cancers associated with obesity and insulin resistance, including colorectal, breast after menopause, liver, pancreatic, and endometrial cancers. Researchers believe improved insulin sensitivity is one of the major reasons behind this protective effect. So what can you do starting today? First, avoid sitting for long periods. Even standing up and walking for 2 to 5 minutes every hour helps your muscles absorb glucose. Second, try taking a 10 to 20-minute walk after meals. This simple habit can significantly reduce post-meal blood sugar spikes. Finally, combine aerobic exercise with resistance training. Cardio improves how your body uses glucose immediately, while strength training builds more muscle, the very tissue that stores glucose and keeps your metabolism healthy. Remember, every step you take isn't just burning calories. It's improving the way your body handles energy, lowering unnecessary growth signals, and creating a metabolic environment that supports long-term health rather than disease. Now let's explore one of the most fascinating ways exercise protects your health, by strengthening the body's own surveillance system, your immune system. Many people think of the immune system as something that only fights viruses and bacteria, but that's only part of the story. Every single day, your body produces cells with DNA damage. Most of these damaged cells never become a problem because your immune system constantly patrols your body, identifying and removing abnormal cells before they have a chance to grow into something more serious. Here's what's really going on inside your body. During exercise, your heart pumps faster, blood circulation increases, and millions of immune cells begin moving through your bloodstream at a much higher rate. Among the most important are natural killer cells, often called NK cells. Think of them as the body's special forces. Their job is to recognize stressed, infected, or abnormal cells and eliminate them before they multiply. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine a large airport with hundreds of security officers. If those officers stay in one terminal all day, they might miss threats happening elsewhere. But if they constantly patrol every gate, every hallway, and every checkpoint, they're much more likely to detect problems early. Exercise does something remarkably similar. It temporarily mobilizes immune cells, allowing them to patrol more of your body in a shorter period of time. What the research shows is that even a single session of moderate exercise can increase the circulation of NK cells, cytotoxic T cells, and other immune defenders. Regular physical activity also improves the ability of these cells to respond efficiently over time. Scientists believe this repeated immune mobilization is one reason physically active people tend to have lower rates of several chronic diseases, including certain cancers. Importantly, research also shows that people who maintain exercise during and after cancer treatment often experience less fatigue, better physical function, and improved quality of life, while some studies suggest better long-term outcomes as well. However, balance matters. Extremely intense training without adequate recovery can temporarily suppress immune function, especially when combined with poor sleep, inadequate nutrition, or chronic stress. More exercise isn't always better. Consistent, well-recovered exercise is what produces the greatest long-term benefit. A practical weekly goal is 150 to 300 minutes of moderate intensity activity, along with 2 or more strength training sessions. Prioritize 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep. Consume enough protein to support muscle recovery, and include colorful fruits and vegetables rich in antioxidants and polyphenols to support normal immune function. Think of every workout as sending your body's security team on another patrol. The more consistently you move, the more opportunities your immune system has to detect potential problems early and maintain a healthier internal environment. If you're finding these science-based explanations valuable, consider subscribing. Every day, we break down the latest research into practical strategies that can help you improve your metabolism, protect your health, and support healthy aging for years to come. Now let's connect another critical piece of the puzzle: chronic inflammation. This is one of the most misunderstood topics in health because inflammation itself is not the enemy. In fact, without inflammation, your body couldn't heal a cut, fight an infection, or recover from a workout. The real problem is chronic, low-grade inflammation, a slow-burning fire that never fully goes out. Here's what's really going on inside your body. When you're physically inactive, carrying excess visceral fat, sleeping poorly, or constantly under stress, your immune system can remain slightly activated day after day. Fat tissue, especially around the abdomen, isn't just a storage site for calories. It acts like an endocrine organ, releasing inflammatory chemicals such as TNF-alpha, IL-1, and IL-6 outside the context of exercise. Over months and years, this persistent inflammatory state can damage DNA, impair normal cell repair, promote insulin resistance, and create conditions that make it easier for abnormal cells to survive and multiply. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine accidentally spilling a small amount of gasoline in your garage. If you clean it up immediately, there's little risk. But if gasoline slowly leaks every day and is never removed, eventually even a tiny spark could cause major damage. Chronic inflammation works in much the same way. It doesn't usually cause disease overnight, but it gradually creates an environment where disease becomes more likely. This is where exercise has a unique advantage. Although a workout causes a temporary increase in inflammation, that's part of how your body adapts, it also triggers powerful anti-inflammatory responses during recovery. Regular exercise reduces visceral fat, improves insulin sensitivity, and increases the production of anti-inflammatory molecules released by contracting muscles. Over time, your baseline level of inflammation actually declines. What the research shows is that people who exercise consistently tend to have lower levels of inflammatory markers such as C-reactive protein, CRP, and better regulation of immune signaling. This reduction in chronic inflammation is considered one of the major mechanisms by which physical activity lowers the risk of cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, and several forms of cancer. So how can you use this information? First, don't think of exercise as something you only do at the gym. Every movement counts. Walking after meals, taking the stairs, gardening, cycling, or simply breaking up long periods of sitting all contribute to lowering inflammation over time. Second, support your workouts with recovery. Aim for 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep, eat enough protein to repair muscle tissue, include omega-3 rich foods like salmon, sardines, walnuts, and flax seeds, and fill half your plate with colorful vegetables and berries rich in polyphenols. These habits work together with exercise, not as replacements, but as partners. The goal isn't to eliminate inflammation. The goal is to restore balance. When inflammation rises only when it's needed and settles back down afterward, your body becomes more resilient, your metabolism functions more efficiently, and your internal environment becomes far less favorable for chronic disease, including cancer. So far, we've established that exercise improves metabolism, strengthens immune surveillance, and reduces chronic inflammation. But here's an important question. Does the type of exercise matter? The answer is yes, but probably not in the way most people think. Many people assume there's one best workout for preventing disease. Some believe it's long-distance running. Others swear by weightlifting or high-intensity interval training. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Each form of exercise activates different biological pathways, and together they create a more complete picture of health. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine you're building a house. You wouldn't rely on a single tool to do every job. A hammer is excellent for nails, but useless for cutting wood. A saw is perfect for cutting, but it can't tighten screws. Exercise works the same way. Different types of movement provide different physiological benefits, and the greatest protection comes from combining them. Let's start with aerobic exercise. Activities like brisk walking, cycling, swimming, or jogging. These improve cardiovascular fitness, increase blood flow, enhance mitochondrial function, and help your body burn glucose and fat more efficiently. Better circulation also means oxygen and immune cells can reach tissues more effectively. Next is resistance training. Lifting weights, using resistance bands, or performing bodyweight exercises stimulates muscle growth. Remember, muscle is your largest site for glucose storage and one of the body's most important endocrine organs. More muscle means better insulin sensitivity, improved metabolic flexibility, and greater production of beneficial myokines during every workout. Then there's high-intensity interval training, or HIIT. Short bursts of vigorous effort followed by recovery periods can improve cardiovascular fitness and insulin sensitivity in less time than traditional steady-state exercise. However, HIIT isn't necessary for everyone. If you have medical conditions, are recovering from illness, or are just beginning an exercise program, moderate intensity activity performed consistently is both effective and sustainable. Finally, don't underestimate everyday movement. Scientists now know that prolonged sitting has independent health risks. Even if you exercise once a day, standing up every hour, walking while taking phone calls, climbing stairs, or doing household chores keeps your muscles metabolically active throughout the day. The latest international guidelines recommend aiming for 150 to 300 minutes of moderate aerobic activity each week, or 75 to 150 minutes of vigorous activity, plus at least 2 strength training sessions targeting all major muscle groups. These recommendations are associated with lower risks of multiple chronic diseases, including several types of cancer. The most important lesson is this: the best exercise isn't the one that's theoretically perfect. It's the one you'll continue doing consistently for years. If this video is helping you rethink what exercise really does inside the body, consider subscribing. Every day we explore the latest science on nutrition, metabolism, longevity, and disease prevention, turning complex research into practical strategies you can apply immediately. Now we've arrived at perhaps the most important lesson of all: consistency beats intensity every single time. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing they need the perfect workout plan before they begin. They wait until they have more time, better equipment, or enough motivation to exercise every day. But your body doesn't reward perfection. It rewards repetition. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Every time you exercise, you create a temporary wave of positive biological changes. Your muscles become more sensitive to insulin. Blood flow improves, immune cells circulate more efficiently, inflammatory markers begin to decline. Your mitochondria, the tiny energy factories inside your cells, receive signals to become stronger and more numerous. The challenge is that many of these benefits gradually fade if movement stops. That's why regular activity matters far more than occasional intense workouts. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine brushing your teeth once for 3 hours every month instead of 2 minutes every morning and evening. It wouldn't produce the same result because health is built through consistent maintenance, not occasional extremes. Exercise works exactly the same way. Small actions, repeated week after week, create profound changes over months and years. What the research shows is that even people who transition from being inactive to moderately active experience meaningful reductions in the risk of premature death and several chronic diseases. In other words, the greatest health gains often occur when someone moves from doing almost nothing to doing something consistently. That's encouraging because it means you don't have to become a marathon runner to improve your long-term health. So what does a practical weekly routine look like? Aim for 30 to 45 minutes of brisk walking or other moderate activity on most days of the week. Add 2 or 3 resistance training sessions focusing on all major muscle groups. If your schedule is busy, divide your exercise into shorter sessions. Even 3 10-minute walks provide measurable metabolic benefits. After meals, take a 10 to 15-minute walk to help regulate blood sugar. Break up long periods of sitting by standing or walking for a few minutes every hour. And don't overlook recovery. Prioritize 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep, stay hydrated, and consume adequate protein to support muscle repair. Perhaps the most encouraging finding from modern research is that it's never too late to start. Whether you're 35, 55, or 75, your muscles retain an incredible ability to adapt. Your cardiovascular system can become more efficient. Your metabolism can improve. Your immune function can become more resilient. While we can't control every risk factor for cancer, we can influence many of the biological systems that determine how resilient our bodies are. Think of exercise as a daily investment in your future. Every walk, every set of squats, every bike ride, and every flight of stairs is a small deposit into a healthier metabolism, a stronger immune system, and a body that's better equipped to protect itself, not just today, but for decades to come. Let's bring everything together. When most people think about exercise, they picture burning calories, losing weight, or improving athletic performance. But as we've seen throughout this video, the real story is far more remarkable. Exercise changes the biology of your body from the inside out. Here's what we've learned. Every time your muscles contract, they release powerful signaling molecules called myokines that communicate with your immune system and other organs. Regular movement improves insulin sensitivity, helping reduce excessive growth signals associated with metabolic dysfunction. It strengthens your immune surveillance, allowing natural killer cells and other immune defenders to patrol your body more effectively. It lowers chronic inflammation, improves mitochondrial function, supports healthy hormone balance, and creates an internal environment that is less favorable for the development and progression of disease. The important thing to remember is that exercise is not a cure for cancer, and it should never replace routine screenings, medical care, or treatments recommended by your healthcare team. But what the scientific evidence increasingly shows is that regular physical activity is one of the most powerful lifestyle interventions we have for reducing the risk of many chronic diseases, supporting cancer prevention, improving quality of life during treatment, and promoting healthy aging. Perhaps the most encouraging message is that you don't have to be perfect to benefit. You don't need expensive gym memberships, you don't need marathon level endurance, you don't even need hours of free time every day. Your body responds to consistent movement. A brisk walk after dinner, 2 or 3 strength training sessions each week, taking the stairs instead of the elevator, standing up every hour if you work at a desk. These simple habits, repeated over months and years, send powerful signals that improve your metabolism, strengthen your muscles, and support your long-term health. So here's my challenge to you. Choose just one change today. Maybe it's committing to a 30-minute walk each morning. Maybe it's adding 2 resistance training sessions this week. Or perhaps it's simply promising yourself that you'll stop sitting for hours without moving. Start small, stay consistent, and pay attention to how your body responds over the coming weeks. Health isn't transformed overnight. It's built one decision at a time. Your muscles are more than a way to move through the world. They're one of your body's most powerful allies for protecting your metabolism, supporting your immune system, and helping you age with strength and resilience. If you found this video valuable, please take a moment to like the video and subscribe. Every day, we explore the latest science on nutrition, metabolism, longevity, and disease prevention, transforming complex research into practical strategies you can use to live a healthier, longer life. Thank you for watching, take good care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next video.